Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko. Today we are going to talk about chapter 4, Supply and Demand Together. Supply and demand together lead to equilibrium of the market, where various forces are in balance. Equilibrium is also known as a situation in which market price has reached the level where quantity supply equal to quantity demanded. In other words, supply and demand curve intercept. Figure 8 show the equilibrium of supply and demand for the market of ice cream cone. Again, we're going to put the price of ice cream cone on the vertical axis or the y-axis and the quantity of ice cream cone on the horizontal axis or the x-axis. So the equilibrium of the market is reached where supply curve cross the demand curve at this equilibrium point. Let's call this equilibrium point A. At this equilibrium point, we can find the equilibrium price, which is $2. Equilibrium price is equal to $2. And then we can also find the equilibrium quantity, which is 7 ice cream cone. The equilibrium quantity is 7 ice cream cone. Whenever there is a surplus in the market, this means that the market is not in equilibrium. Quantity supply would be greater than quantity demanded, and this will lead to excess supply. So with excess supply, there will be a downward pressure on the price, which will lead to moving along the demand curve and the demand and the supply curve, which would increase the quantity demanded and decrease the quantity supply until they are equal, which will lead to equilibrium again. On the other hand, when there is a shortage, the market is not in equilibrium. This will lead to quantity demanded greater than quantity supply, so leading to excess demand. Excess demand will put an upward pressure on the price and leading to movement along the demand and supply curve, which will decrease quantity demanded and increase quantity supply until they are equal and back to equilibrium again. Figure 9 show that markets are not in equilibrium. In panel A, there is an excess supply because the current price 250 is above the equilibrium price $2. At 250, buyer want to buy 4 cone of ice cream and seller want to sell 10 cone, and this will leave a surplus of 10 minus 4, which is 6 ice cream cone. And there will be a downward pressure on the price. So this downward pressure on the price, this will decrease until equilibrium at $2, where quantity demanded equal to quantity supply. On the other hand, for the case of excess demand, the equilibrium price is above the current price of the equilibrium plus $2 is above the current price of $1.50. Therefore, seller want to sell only four ice cream cone, and buyer want to buy 10 ice cream cone, and this will lead to a shortage of 10 minus 4, which is 6 ice cream cone. And there will be a upward pressure on the price to which will tend to rise until quantity supply and quantity demanded are equal at the equilibrium. The law of supply and demand imply that the price of any good adjusts to bring the quantity supply and quantity demanded of that good into balance, meaning the quantity supply will equal to the quantity demanded. So in most market, surpluses and shortages are temporary because the market always go back to equilibrium where quantity supply equal to quantity demanded. Table 3 summarizes the three steps for analyzing changing in equilibrium. First, decide whatever the event shift the supply or demand curve, or perhaps both curve. Next, decide in which direction the curve shift. If the factor impact positively the curve, the supply or demand will increase and shift to the right. If the factor impact negatively the curve, supply or demand will decrease and shift to the left. Third, use the supply and demand diagram to see how the shift changes the equilibrium price and quantity. Let's begin with a change in market equilibrium due to a shift in demand. Let's apply the three process of analyzing change in equilibrium. For instance, one summer there is a very hot weather. How this is going to impact the market for ice cream? So the three process, analyzing using the three process hot weather mean that it's going to shift the demand curve because of the taste. Okay, and it's very hard. People want to buy ice cream, in that sense. So demand curve will increase and shift to the right. So this will lead to higher equilibrium price and higher equilibrium quantity. Figure 10 show how an increase in demand affects the equilibrium. Uh, let's begin with the initial equilibrium at this point where supply cross demand and the equilibrium price is $2 per ice cream cone and the equilibrium quantity is 7 ice cream cone. Due to the hot weather, there is an increase in the demand, and demand will increase in that sense from D1 to D2. So, hot weather increase the demand for ice cream from D1 to D2, which is, and demand will shift to the right, and this will lead to a new equilibrium at this point. So where supply curve cross the new demand D2 at this point, and the equilibrium price will be $2.50, and then the new equilibrium quantity will be 10 ice cream cone. And therefore, with the increase in the demand from D1 to D2 with no change in supply, equilibrium equilibrium quantity increase from 7 to 10, equilibrium price increases from 2 to 250. Now let's talk about a change in the market equilibrium due to a shift in supply. For instance, one summer a hurricane destroyed part of the sugar cane crop, so leading to higher price of sugar. What is the effect on the market for ice cream? Let's use the three steps for analyzing change in equilibrium. First, change in the price of sugar. Sugar is an input in the production of, of ice cream. An increase in the price of sugar, this will impact supply curve because price of input is going up, so it costs more for ice cream maker to make ice cream. Therefore, the cost of production will increase, the price, the supply will decrease and shift to the left. So in that case, supply curve will decrease and shift to the left. And third, this will lead to higher equilibrium prices and lower equilibrium quantity. So figure 11 show how a decrease in supply affect the equilibrium. So let's begin with the initial equilibrium at this point. So where demand curve cross supply curve and S1, and the equilibrium price is $2. The equilibrium quantity is seven ice cream cone. So an increase in the price of sugar reduces the supply curve of ice cream. Therefore, supply curve will shift from S1 to S2. So this is a negative shift. Will shift to the left from S1 to S2, and the economy will now, the market will reach a new equilibrium here. The new equilibrium at this new equilibrium, the price the, the new equilibrium price is $2.50, so which is a higher price because from $2 it increased to 2.50, and then this will lead also to a new equilibrium quantity, which is a lower quantity. So quantity will decrease from 7 to 4 in that sense. Now let's talk about the shift in both the supply and demand. For instance, one summer there is hurricane and heat wave. So let's use the three steps to analyze the change in the equilibrium. The first step, the heat wave shift the demand curve, the hurricane shift the supply curve. So second, the demand curve will shift to the right because with the heat wave, more people want to buy ice cream, so demand for ice cream will increase and shift to the right. So with the hurricane, supply curve will decrease and shift to the left because the supply curve, the hurricane destroy part of the production, so of the sugar cane. So the cost of production is up. The supply curve will decrease and shift to the left. So this will raise the equilibrium prices. So if the demand increase substantially while supply fall just a little, equilibrium quantity will rise. If the supply falls substantially while the demand rise just a little, equilibrium quantity will fall. Table 4 summarize what happened to pricing quantity when supply or demand shift. So you can see that here no change in demand, increase in demand, and decrease in demand. Here no change in supply, increase in supply, and decrease in supply. So this is the end of chapter 4. Thank you.